G'day guys, welcome back to the farm on Farming Simulator 22. It's now September. In the last episode we had to do a bit of contracting so that we could have a little bit of money. We got paid about $6,500 for that, and we had a little bit of extra canola left over from that field, so in the trailer just about 4,500 litres, and we're going to put that straight into the oil factory so that this can just keep producing canola oil. Still got about 15,000 litres inside the factory as well, so there's going to be plenty of oil coming our way eventually. Should hopefully all be here before December, which is roughly when the price is right. So right now we're okay for cash. We're not rich at the moment, but we will be when the time comes closer to the winter months. Maybe around March we'll be looking pretty sweet for the money. So I'm just going to drop this trailer off up at this field, and then there's plenty of jobs that we need to get on with today. One of the jobs is that this field needs to be cultivated and turned around and planted. We need to get that wheat back into the ground because that is essential feed for the chickens, so we may need to make sure that we get that planted. I think we may have October to plant it, but I want to get it done as soon as possible. And today we got some pretty bad weather coming in around 10, and it looks like it's going to be sticking around pretty much for the whole day, so that's not really good. We need to make some hay is probably our priority for the day. We are running quite low, and we haven't had the best out of this grass field for this year. I'm not too sure why, but it's just had a bit of a funny year. We are one cut short for the year, so we need to make some hay bales out of this, which we don't do very often because we make them and it kind of lasts us around about a year and a half maybe. So we need to top that up because we've only got a couple left in the shed, and I don't think that's going to be enough to get us through the winter. This is going to be the final cut for the year because it's not going to have regrown by the time November hits, and that's about when the last time you can do a grass cut is. So it's going to be all hands on deck right now to try and get this all cut and baled up all before that 10 o'clock rain comes. Hopefully we can do it in time, but I don't know if we can. We can use a worker or two to do some of the cutting and the windrowing, and we also need to do the tedding as well. So we've got this mower set to a wide spread. Normally we just have it on a swath and run the baler over it, but we actually need to ted it first and then windrow it, so there's a few more steps today. But pressure's on with the time. I could slow down time, but I'd like to just stick it to 5 times speed, so we don't need to slow it down to benefit us too much. We just let it run through, and whatever happens happens. But I need to get this tractor here, and we need to go and pick up the tedder and the windrower, which I believe are up at the other farm. So we'll send a worker to drive up there and we can get that sorted out. Well, unfortunately we haven't beat the rain here, but we have managed to pretty much get it all rowed up and baled. So it's not realistically you would have just left this for another day and come back to it. But we need the hay bales all sorted out and ready, and the game isn't going to turn them into mushy grass or anything. but it would have been good to play it realistically, but it's just a job that needs doing. So we'll just get it all wrapped up here, but I do want to get them moved in and out of the rain as quickly as possible. So unfortunately you can't just run a worker on the baler because I don't know why. I think they just don't do the task properly. You can use Courseplay for it, but I don't have that downloaded or haven't ever used it before. Maybe I should try and look into using that at some point, but we need to get our telehandler out now. So we've got all these 9,000 litre bales, so they are going to last us for quite a while. The cows don't really take too many of them. They only take about just over half a bale every time I do a feed mix, and a feed mix is probably once a day or once a month, so these bales do last quite a while, but it's best just to make a whole batch up and then we don't have to worry about it too much. As for the silage, we're going to have to keep that silage as well because we don't have enough to get us through the winter. We do use more silage than hay, but we will hopefully be back to normal proceedings next season with the grass because we've missed out on one trailer load of silage that we sell. So that's about $15,000 that we're down, and as you can see we've got 4 bales left over there plus whatever's on this trailer, so that's definitely going to get us through the winter months, and then we'll have to start producing more silage next year, and we'll see how we go. We might sell one load if we can, see how much we use through the winter from now. But we're going to have to get this field turned around today. We'll get some slurry, probably not today actually, we don't need to worry about it today, but we need to get these bales in and out of the rain first. Alright, well that's all the bales picked up. This is the last one. We'll get this put away. Terrible conditions out here today, but if nothing else, at least the machinery is getting a good clean. It's been a while since we took it up to use the pressure washer, but when you're using it in the rain it does end up cleaning it as well. So if nothing else, at least that's a good thing. But we got plenty of hay in storage now. That is going to last us quite some time. There's plenty of other jobs to do today. We need to take care of our new canola crop, get that weeded. So we can just run this off onto a worker pretty much straight away. A nice square field, so we don't have to worry about any issues. And we've got the row crop tires onto this tractor, which means he's not going to be destroying any of the crop. So we'll let that run, and hopefully he'll do a good job of that. And we need to get started cultivating the wheat field. I want to get this planted as quickly as possible. So I'm going to have to do all the tricky corners, and I'm actually thinking I might downsize this field just slightly, just taking this edge off here and also down at the bottom. I'll square the field up just a little bit, and that way when I do use workers in the future they can just get into it, and we don't have to worry about me doing this little funny corner and the one at the bottom of the field every time, because it does take me a little while, and it's just something you can't trust the worker to do it. So we'll do these little tricky parts and then we'll get into it and let a worker run off on this, and hopefully the weeding will be done by that time. Well, I pretty much did the whole field there of the cultivating. We don't really have enough money for me to be funding workers, and there's not much other jobs for me to do today, not without buying another tractor anyway. So if I was to put a worker on here, I would just be standing around watching them and burning money. So it hasn't taken us too long. It's only 2 p.m, but we do want to get this field planted today as well, and maybe possibly running a coat of fertilizer over the top of that. So there's still plenty to do to get this field ready for the next season. There's also going to be the weeding that will need to be done as well. So there we go, the weeding on the other field has just been completed. So that's good news for us. That means our money is not going to be going down any further. But we want to put this cultivator into the shed now, and we can hook up to the seeder. Hopefully I've got enough seed. I think I still have a bag over by the canola field if we do run out. And if we have to take a trip to the shop, then that's not really the biggest deal. We'll just have to do whatever we need to do. We don't produce seeds, we have to purchase them, so they get used obviously. Not an endless supply. So let's hook up, and again I will do these funny little corners and we'll see where we're at. I might run a worker on this. If there's not much else for me to do, I may just finish this myself, but as you can see, that's an hour's wages there for a worker's $330 something, so that's an expensive thing to use. It's all good when you've got heaps of money, but right now we're struggling. But we'll be pretty decent after, I think October we sell milk and November we sell eggs, so we'll definitely be good after November. And December we'll be selling our oils, and then January we're selling lettuce. So there is plenty of money to be coming in. Unfortunately, it's just not the right time to be selling things at the moment, so we just have to wait, bide our time. But you know, we are going to have around about 150,000 probably by the time March or April come around. Okay, so I've done most of the tricky parts of the field. There's just this line here as well is a bit funny. If I set this off on a worker, he'll go to the top, turn around, come back down about 10 or 20 meters, and then he'll just stop and say, "Oh, job complete." So I'll just go up here and down, and then I'll probably set this off on a worker, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple of other things that we can do down near the cow shed. I think they'll need to have a feed mixture made up, and we'll check the price for the milk, because I'm pretty keen to get some money back into the bank account. We started the day off with just over 4,000 and we're already down quite a bit, and we've got more expenses that come out overnight. We've got the loan interest and all the property maintenance, so we do want to make sure that we've got cash just to get us through the night at least, and we can see what we can sell today. I'm pretty sure milk is good in October, so it might be okay in September. Should be a decent price, seeing as it's not going to rise too much overnight, I wouldn't think. So we'll just take a look in the menus here and we'll see what we need to do. So tomorrow is sunflowers, and that's pretty much a full day just on the sunflower field alone, so we should try and do any other jobs that we can today. Milk wise, we've got just over 20,000. Could probably do with making a feed for the cows as well, but let's just check on the milk. We could do a couple of loads today if the price is any good, so it's not too bad. It's best in January, but it's actually pretty good today. It's actually better than it is going to be in January, so I think we should do a couple of trailer loads of milk today, and that'll give us a bit of cash to get us through till the end of the winter. Well, here we go then. So a couple of loads out of here. I should really think about investing in the larger milk trailer, just so that we have to do one trip maybe 2 times or 3 times a year, instead of having to do multiple journeys 3 times a year. We will also be looking at purchasing the dairy eventually, but I'm pretty sure that you need to have sugar to really get the benefit out of that, so that might be a little way away, seeing as harvesting sugar beet or sugar cane is not a cheap thing to do, and it also means we're going to need to buy ourselves a new field before we can do that. Well, there we go. 2 loads of milk sold. Not too bad. We got about 12 grand for that. Just over 6,000 per trailer, so that's pretty good going. That's definitely going to be enough to see us through until we can sell some of the other goods. I think the eggs will probably be the next big income. We normally get pretty decent income from that. We obviously still need to do the harvesting of the sunflower tomorrow, and that's going to go straight into the oil factory. Hopefully that'll be ready for when it's the right price, which I think is around March time. But while we're down here, we may as well just top up the cows, make sure everything is all happy. They do produce the milk for us, so we've got to make sure that they are well supplied with everything they need. So we've got a little bit of straw here. See if they need these 2 bales. Hopefully they'll take all of it. Well, they didn't take all of it, but that's not too bad. A bale and a half is pretty good. That just means that we top them up with their bedding so they're happy. We may as well make a feed mix as well while we're here. They do use up quite a lot of feed though. It's about 1 whole mix per day. So that's like 12,000 litres of TMR every day. If we sold off some of the cows, we could benefit from feeding them less, but it's just hassle to do that because it means they're going to not be producing milk, and I would rather have old cows who eat more and produce milk than saving on the food. Food's not really an issue for us. We've got plenty of silage and hay and straw, and the milk benefits us more than not doing it, so we may as well. So the way I make a TMR mix is a full bale of silage, 5,000 litre, and then the hay bales are slightly larger. They're 9,000 litres per bale, so I normally just put in just over half of one of those, and then I just top the rest up with the straw just to use a little bit less of the hay and the silage. And you need straw as well, but we don't really put too much in. It's just a few hundred litres depending on how it works, because obviously if I put 5,000 litres of this in, we only need 1,000 litres of ham straw. And then on the next run, because this is going to be a 4,000 litre bale roughly after I've put this in, well, then the next mix might have a little bit more straw, but I kind of just rough it. Doesn't have to be too accurate as long as it's total mixed ration. So we'll go and get ourselves a straw bale. We'll top that up, make sure the cows are happy. There we go, a bunch of happy cows. You can see they've come over to start feeding. So let's just make sure everything's fine. Yep, they got 20,000 litres of food now. How's our guy planting doing? He's pretty low on the seed, so we might need to top that up in a second. I don't know if I've got any over here. So we've got some lime. No, we don't have any over here, but I'm sure I do have some at the top of our new field. Yeah, tomorrow, sunflowers. That's just all day on that. Milk is best in October, but we are pretty low on stock now, obviously, but there are other good times throughout the year. So big paydays coming up with the clothing and the eggs, of course. Got heaps of eggs in stock. Probably looking at about 40,000 for the eggs. And here we go, we're out of seed now, so I'll probably just finish this off myself. It's no point making a worker finish that. So I think I've got a bag of seed over here at the top of this field. Otherwise it's going to be a trip to the store, which will be a little bit annoying. Hopefully not. Yes, so here it is. And hopefully it's got quite a bit left in it. Should have. Yep, plenty of seed in there. We've got 1,000 litres in the tank. That should be more than enough to plant that field next time around as well. Seed does go a long way. Do really need to be looking at investing in a bigger seeder, because this thing, we've got a few fields now that need planting, so we should really be starting to think about bigger equipment. I'm pretty keen to do that rather than purchasing more fields. The next thing I want to do in terms of using the land is probably getting a vineyard, possibly of olive grove, because we already have an oil factory, which means we can just produce olive oil instead of having to purchase the grape processing plant. But we do get grape juice and raisins out of it if we do the grapes, so I'm not too sure which one to do yet. Just see how we feel on the day, but we need to try and make enough money throughout the winter before we even think about what we're going to do. As both options are very expensive. There's a lot of machinery that we need to purchase, and vineyard or olive groves themselves are not cheap to make. And if we do go with the grapes, then we need the money for the factory as well. Now, we don't have to buy everything in one hit, but we will need a new small tractor, and there's a couple of implements that we'll need for that as well. And if we do the grapes, we're obviously going to need the grape factory. That's going to be 80 or 100,000. Very expensive. And the harvester as well, but we could lease that for the first year or two. We could get the lease to own mod, but I don't really want to do that. I prefer to just buy things outright. It's just another monthly expense otherwise. So how's our field? Need to do the weeding and another coat of fertilizer. So that's going to be a job for tomorrow. We'll get a worker doing that while we do the harvesting. Got plenty of eggs over there, as we can see. Down here at the cows, everybody's happy. Plenty of food, plenty of straw. Just keep producing the milk. And the grass is looking alright. We need to chuck a fertilizer coat on there as well. Got a few bales here, but we're probably going to keep these throughout the winter because we're running low around here. Yeah, we are running very low. So that's about it for now. Tune in next time for the sunflower harvest, and then it's going to be a case of trying to make some money after that. So I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I hope you're enjoying the series. Leave a like and a comment on the video, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.